Did you know that a human being has in your kishkas, you have a network of neurons that's basically the size of a brain of a small cat.
Yeah.
There's a kitten down there. Yeah, you know about it. Yeah, it goes meow down there. It's there. It says chocolate. Send chocolate. Okay, so why did we need to look at this? Because we didn't get to the part starting on page 134, in the chapter 6 part, the 134. That was what we're going to do now. But I did want to mention, though, that today happens to be the birthday of the Baal Shem Tov and of the Alter Rebbe, of the Alter Tanya.
I just saw somebody posted that.
18th of Elul.
Yeah.
I got a post from two friends in LA. One is what is he? A neurosurgeon, I think. No, he keeps on moving around from thing to thing. Most doctors in LA do facelifts. That's plastic surgery. Like if somebody in LA tells you they're a surgeon, they're most likely plastic face surgeon. And the other one is a Hollywood scriptwriter, and they sent me a picture from them in Hodich at the Alter Rebbe's gravesite. I said, well, watch out for the drones. It's right there next to Donetsk. It's right there in the area. But they're there, yeah. And I just came back today from the Rebbe's gravesite in Queens. Just got off the plane a few hours ago. So it's a day. It's a special day. Okay. So the three lower clippers. The clipper, we said, is that which obstructs divine life. But it doesn't really obstruct it. It's just because it has to get in. But talking about clipper. I mean, talking about divine life. Right? We're talking about, we need Scott to bring the wine. That's what's missing.
He's been out of town.
Okay. And David, right?
Ramon.
No, Ramon. That's it. Okay. So clipper doesn't. We said everything has to have a spark of the divine inside. It has to be energized by divine light. Everything, because if God's not giving it life, what is? Well, obviously, everything. But when there's clipper involved, it comes in through the back door. It's an exile there. So there's a godly force that's giving it life in every moment, but it's giving life to something that's counter to its very being. So as we say, it's an exile. It's like being in your own house and being told that you're a guest. You ever had that experience? Being in your own house and being told that you're a guest.
You better say no.
Of course not.
Of course, you said the right thing. Why the guests get treated better?
Yes.
I'm making trouble.
If I answered the question incorrectly, it would be true.
Okay, so that would be, for example, your own, very disturbing to hear, but we all have an animal soul inside us. And that animal is just interested in its own self-gratification. And in there, within that animal soul, divine light is there being obstructed. It's somewhat in exile in that. Unless the animal says, well, I want to join in on these Torah and mitzvahs and good things that you're doing, and I'm going to help out with that. Since your animalistic soul is a kind of clipper that can be elevated, it can be turned around. But if you leave it just as is, so it's just doing things for its own self-gratification, and it's nothing godly, nothing divine about it. But if you say, listen, little kitten inside my stomach, we're going to celebrate Shabbos, and we're going to enjoy Shabbos meal because it's Shabbos, and it's going to be kosher food. So now you've raised up, you've allowed that clipper to come up. You've elevated. We're going to get to that in chapter 7. Who's this?
It was me.
That was one of those kittens. She's taking the blame. You see, that's so such a tzaddik. Okay, but there are others that can't be moved up. Okay, we'll get to all that. So the lower clippers, the 3 lower clippers, are the ones that cannot ever be moved up.
Before we get to the lower clip,
Sorry, yes.
that last top paragraph on page 134,
Sorry.
that explains why everything in this world is full of hardship.
Right. That was we were discussing
I
last
don't
week.
understand this paragraph at all. We're talking about the diminishing of light, the Simpson thing. Is that right?
The clip, we say this is a world that's our world. We said right before that, we said that our world is, this world is, and all it contains is called the world of Klippot in Sitra Achra. Because by the time things get down to this world, the light is so diminished and so obstructed. That's what most of our world is, with only a little bit of good mixed in. And so therefore, that explains why everything in this world is full of hardship and suffering, and the wicked have the upper hand.
The strangling and entrapment of life energy. That's the diminishing of the light from God. Is that?
The strangling and entrapment of life energy, yeah.
That's God's light that's being
In
diminished.
our world, it's an exile. In our world, the light that's enlivening this world and sustaining the existence of this world is in an exile. It's suffocating.
It's an exile because it's being diminished.
2 things. It's been diminished, and the klippa of this world doesn't let it shine. It's like a low light coming through thick veils, shining through a dirty bottle. The glass is all not allowing in. So
I thought the reason the light was diminished is because we can't stand the full extent of God's light.
So God could send us energy that's just the energy that we need, but it's clean energy. Like you have a signal, you can have energy is how we transmit information. We don't know of any other way of transmitting information except through energy. But not all energy carries information. You can have a nice clean signal that you need it in order to transmit signals from one cell phone to another cell phone, radio waves, that sort of thing. You want the signal to stay clean and come across coherent. But you could also have a signal that doesn't carry information at all. And you can't even trace back the signal. You don't know where it's coming from at all. Or you could have a signal that's coming and you're not even aware there's energy here, and you're not even aware that there's any energy at all. You could be sitting in one of those big MRI machines, and there's all sorts of energy, and every molecule in your body is vibrating, and you don't know. You don't know about it. Or you could be listening at the same time to nice music through the headphones they give you, so you don't have the claustrophobia in there. And that's a nice signal. The signal is very coherent and good. So so energy can come in different ways. The main problem with Klippa is not that it's diminished. The main problem is the signal is not coherent. The Klippa has scattered it, so to speak. And it described how that happens, that it comes down through all these steps. It's step by step, descends through all these different steps. At each point, it gets more diminished and reduced until it can enter into this place. It has to be a very fine signal to enter into this place where it's going to be incoherent. The clip is covering over it. But after all, there's something over here that's contradictory to it. What does divine light mean? Divine light means it has an origin. It's coming from somewhere else. It's not. And what is this animal saying? Where's the next meal? It's all about me. I'm interested in this because of me. So this me-ness, selfness, that's in direct contradiction to divine light, to light. Light, light is you're sitting outside and you're feeling the light of the sun. You feel it's the sun like stroking me. It's coming from somewhere. That's light. But when somebody says, "Oh no, it's just me here," that's my energy. So you're not allowing it to shine. As soon as you say to this animal, "No, we're going to go into a mitzvah," oh, then the animal's letting the light shine. It's not about me anymore. It's about something higher than me. And that's what term we use, the most important term, bittul. Right. Bittul. On its own, this animal has no bittul. It says it's all about me. You tell it, no, there's something bigger than you. So it's capable of saying, oh yeah, there is something bigger. That's why it's not the three lower clippers. It's one that's capable of having bittul.
Question. But you could do the mitzvah without bittul, can you? Or can you?
Just the fact that you're doing it, a mitzvah, means you're acknowledging. Oh, okay, you can have a person who's just doing the mitzvah because yesterday he did the mitzvah the day before. It's still in some way is acknowledging that there's something. You ask the person, why are you doing this? Because God says so.
But what if
That's
he's
a
doing
mitzvah.
it because there is something that serves his own personal goals or
That gets
desires?
mixed in. That can get mixed in over there. And really, the reason I gave the big check to the synagogue is because I want to be on the board, because I'm a realtor, and that's the way to get clients.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
I'm gonna have Shabbos. I'm gonna have this Shabbos meal and say bracha because I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I love chicken.
Yeah, but then you don't have to make a bracha. You can just eat the chicken.
So if when you do a mitzvah, you're supposed to have in mind that I'm doing a mitzvah.
Right.
I'm doing for the sake of a mitzvah. If you don't have that in mind in many mitzvahs, it's no longer a mitzvah.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, if somebody says Shema Yisrael, why? Because I was reading it. You didn't fulfill the mitzvah saying Shema Yisrael. You have to remind that you're doing a mitzvah. But if a poor person comes to your door, he says he's hungry, and you give him a meal, you didn't have in mind a mitzvah. It's still a mitzvah. Why? Because the person's no longer hungry. You can't get around that. So there is still a mitzvah there.
Rabbi, why is it?
I just want to finish the talk, but hold on 1 second, Greg. This is like such a mind-boggling. Let's say somebody goes fishing on Shabbos.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Shabbos is Yom Kippur, the whole thing. Right? Of course, you can't go fishing Yom Kippur. But he had to, So he throws out his net into the sea. He throws out his net to pull in fish, and he feels there's something really heavy over here. I got to go into low power mode. What's going on? This thing's not plugged in. Yeah, I know. I'm going to do that, but it's not going to last. There's only got 10% left on here.
Okay.
No, listen to the Lochi. This is amazing. First, so he throws his net out into the sea, and he feels there's something heavy there. He pulls it up, and there's a child. He just saved the child's life. Did he do? What did he sin or do a mitzvah?
Both.
Maybe there could even be fish in there. So that's not allowed on Shabbos. No, he said he did a mitzvah. He has a mitzvah, and there's no sin over there. He intended to sin.
Maybe
right?
he was meant to do it in order to save that child.
Yeah.
So it's a mitzvah?
It ends up being a mitzvah. Yeah.
Because it's the action, not the intent.
Yeah. I mean, the same thing the rabbi say, if you lose money and somebody else finds it, you have a mitzvah. And he needed it, like a poor person finds it who needed the money.
Mhm.
It's you have a mitzvah. You may never find out that you have the mitzvah. You have a mitzvah. But this case with the net is so amazing. He intended to sin. I got a mitzvah instead. Try again. It didn't work. He
does
doesn't
that
have any
mean
power
that
sources. He
divine
needs
light came
a
to him?
charger or something.
All right, I'll be.
Yeah, maybe he has a battery, but then it won't be connected to the. Or I'll just put it on my phone instead or something.
But does that mean the divine light came to him?
The what?
Divine light came through to him if he doesn't, even if he doesn't know it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Without
maybe
mental-
I think what I think is maybe behind it is that he subliminally he was driven like by his neshama. The divine soul inside him was really pushing him to go and do this really in order to save the child, and he didn't know that. He thought he's doing. No, we never know what are our real motives, why we do the things we do. It's just an amazing case. So, but most of the mitzvahs you have to have, according to most opinions, you have to have kavanah. I'm doing a mitzvah. Certainly, if you don't, even when it is a mitzvah, and according to this mitzvah, it's still better to have the kavanah, and especially to do it with with real, love and joy, and do it properly. That is much more light. It's like you can have a little bit of light, or you can have a big aperture letting in lots and lots of light. The bigger the aperture, the clearer picture you get. Okay, so it says, although all clippers lack the bittul required for holiness to reside within them, there's still like all of that's the common denominator of all clipper. They don't have bittul, so holiness can't reside there. It only can be there in exile. But it's still split into two levels, one lower than the other. At the lower level are the three clippers that are thoroughly tameh and bad. They contain no good at all within them. How could they contain no good at all in them? How can they exist if they have no good in them? As we said, everything has to have a divine spark. So I had to write a whole piece to explain it. Is it? But let me give you another example, though. Let's say you write a novel or a Hollywood movie, whatever it is. Every novel has to have a protagonist and an antagonist. So you have to create a villain. And you have to really get into this character of the villain, really dress up this character and develop the character of this villain. And he has to be really bad to make an exciting story. Do you like this villain? Does the author of the story like this villain? No, I think if he likes the villain, it's not going to be a good story. He has to create a villain that he hates. So he's giving life to a creature that he hates. That's an amazing thing. So, but that's what God does when he creates the world. God says, I don't want people worshiping idols. So therefore there are idols in the world. I don't want you to eat pork. So therefore there's bacon and pork and so on. It exists. Why does it exist? Because he doesn't want it. So there are things that exist because he wants it, and there are things that exist because he doesn't want it.
Well, with the example of pork,
Yeah,
it's only bad for Jews. Otherwise, it's neutral.
right. Yeah.
So it's not like he created something that inherently bad. It's just bad for Jews.
Not only that, it's only bad for eating. But if somebody wants to have a pet pig, just because that's
Whole other story.
I was, when you live in California for a few years, you see everything. Walking along, and this guy's walking and it's the end of the leash. It's not a dog. No, it's a Vietnamese pot boiler.
Belly pig.
Yeah.
I
That was
said,
very
what's it like having?
trendy.
He told me, don't get one. If you do, you have to keep all of your food very high up. Because if it knows there's food there, it doesn't matter, walk through anything, you are no longer its master if there's food around. Okay. Anyways,
So, but this
Like a
is
villain.
inherently bad.
okay, so these
This
things,
has no.
what does inherently bad mean? I mean,
redeeming
dogs and
quality.
cats are of 3 atomic clippers. The donkey that Moshe Rabbeinu rode, right, is of these 3 lower clippers that are, it says, contain no good at all within them. That's not possible. How could it be? It's a holy donkey. If Moshe rode it, must be a holy donkey. It says that Pinchas ben Yair, father-in-law of Shimon Bar Yochai, Pinchas ben Yair, great tzaddik, he had a donkey that was a greater tzaddik than most. This donkey, it wouldn't eat anything that wasn't kosher. It wouldn't work on Shabbos. It's very holy. You know about the rabbi who had what was it? He always, whenever there was meat, that was it. He always got from the butcher the treif meat. The shochet messes something up. There's treif meat. Okay, give it because I have guard dogs. Okay, so give it to the guard dogs. And guard dogs will always eat the treif meat, and they were trained so they wouldn't eat the kosher meat. They only ate the treif meat. One day he comes home with kosher. With the butcher said it's kosher meat. He puts it on the table. The dog chops up and eats it. Got a problem. Goes back to the butcher, says, the meat you sold me is not kosher meat. How do you know? The dog ate it. Bring the shochet. Shochet says, no, it's perfectly kosher, no problem at all. We checked. Okay, we're going to the Rav. They take him to the Rav, big rabbi in town. He listens, he talks to the shochet. There wasn't any, when you open it, we checked the animal from the inside, but all these things, so checks and checks. Finally, he turns to the owner of the dog. He says, listen, really, the meat is kosher, but your dogs are holding by a minority opinion. But you don't have to go that far, but they're being machmir, they're going. Okay, so it can't be that no good within them means they are bad and evil and sinister. That can't be what it means. So months ago, whatever, we discussed that whenever it says good and bad in Tanya, it does not mean good and bad as we generally understand good and bad.
Plus it says Tame,
It
not
can't.
bad. I'm going to just say that.
No, it also says bad.
Never mind.
Ros, it says Tameus v'ros, Tame and bad.
Evil.
Okay, Ra, Tov v'ra. So it's not evil. It's not that kind. Bunny rabbits are not sinister evil. Sorry. So they can be very kind and very nice. I don't know about bunny rabbits, but there are other animals that can be kind and nice that are tummy. So bad, we said, has a different meaning to it. And good also. So bad, good and bad to us means it hurts me, so it's bad. I'm trying to get something done and it's getting in my way. It's bad. Sorry, guys, you're in low battery, 5% remaining, and so we're going to turn off the camera. Are they going to hear us still then?
Yeah, it's just the camera quality is not going to be as good.
The camera quality is not going to be as good. There we go. And we just remembered that I cut off Greg at some point, but everybody's frozen over there. Greg, you still there?
I'm still here, but I can't hear very well.
Can you hear us?
I can see better than I can hear.
Oh, so it's not coming, the voice is not coming across so well. Because
If you turn off the video, maybe the voice will get better.
that's an idea. That's
Yeah.
no, but I don't think that's the issue. The issue is the signal or
Is it on cellular?
no,
Or?
there's a good signal. He's on the Wi-Fi. But I don't think it's a signal problem. It's probably the
Something happened to the audio. It's not just you.
yeah.
It's everybody.
No, we're not
going
near the
remote.
microphone, so
Yeah.
we're not going to be good.
We're sending through we had to, it's not going through the wires anymore. It's going probably Bluetooth or something.
But it's not charging.
And it's not charging either. This is gonna conk out any minute if we don't do something. Because it's not plugged into anything. What's this?
Oh, no, it was plugged in.
It's not. No. Okay, we
Yeah,
have
now
it
it's
charged.
charging.
Now it's charged. Can you understand what I'm saying when I'm talking?
Barely.
Barely. If I talk really loud, you can?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so we'll go ahead with the question and I'll try to answer in a loud and clear voice.
My question?
Yeah.
My question just had to do with, of these three lower clippos, can you not rise above them or at least rise within them by changing what you are doing?
Whether you can rise above the clippers. Yeah. You have an issue. This is in chapter 7. You have a godly soul. You can go either way.
Okay.
But it depends. If the lower clippers, you can't raise them up. They can't move. But clippers noga, you can turn it up or down. You can go in either direction. We'll get to that. We're jumping ahead.
Okay.
What we want to know right now, we need to understand, is what means they contain no good at all into them. Good, first of all, means there's nothing divine about them. That's something different. Because they have no bittul. They're entirely self-driven. Well, self-driven. Well, that's what a living organism is all about. That's the definition of a living organism. It's self-driven. It has its own agency. It's out to preserve itself and make more of itself. That's not bad. That's life. So people farm, sell, buy, do all these things. That's life. So, but it's not divine. And here, the context in Tanya is we're talking about something that transcends just being a living being, something higher than that. There's some bittul to something higher. So some things can't do that. And even then, when we talk about these animals as being tameh and bad, we don't mean them as an animal, we mean them as food. The pig as food for a Jew is not good. But the pig is a pig, not necessarily a sinister animal. Maybe a lot of them are, but that Vietnamese, the way he described having to, but that pot belly, what? Okay, but we're talking within context. It could be like this donkey was used in a good way. Moses' donkey, you know. But that's what we mean. And when we say has no good in it, well, the other problem, two problems. First of all, good, no good in it means it's not divine. But the other issue with no good in it, well, does it have a divine spark within it that's vitalizing it? Yeah, but it's so embedded. We said, remember? It's so embedded there, it's like that. Right? Like I gave the example of nitrogen. That there's all this nitrogen, but the plants can't get to it. Because it's nitrogen gets locked into these molecules and you can't pull it out from there. So you need bacteria or a chemical reaction of some sort to make that nitrogen available. The same thing, you can have a divine spark embedded with this in this thing, but it's so embedded you can't pull it out from there. I'll give you another example is you mix milk and meat together. Right? It's not kosher, right? If you cook meat and milk together, it's not kosher. So you now have, say, a piece of meat, and somebody tells you, well, you can't eat that meat. Why? Because milk fell into it. They got cooked together. So now it's treif. So now, very interesting. They ask you, how much of I'm going to weigh this thing. Say it weighs 2 ounces. How much of those 2 ounces is milk, and how much of those 2 ounces is meat? I say, well, I think about a quarter of it is milk. Actually, it was cheese. Okay, whatever. So a quarter of its, let's say, I could guess that a quarter of its volume is now Why do you need to know? Because if this piece of meat now falls into a vat of other meat, right? If there's 60, it's 60 against it, right? It's one part out of 61 parts, basically. So the whole vat's going to be kosher. But if there isn't 60 against the whole thing will be not kosher.
But
Well,
you
what's the problem now? Do I need 60 against the meat or 60 against the meat and the milk?
Is that whole piece of meat considered bad?
Or
Or
is it
just the
just-
milk part of the meat?
Oh, no, the meat part that cuts with the milk. Well, what is it? We say, no, the entire thing became an isser.
So how can you put that into a pot with 60 pieces of meat?
And stir them all up and mush them all
Well, it's
up
only if it
together.
happens by accident,
Yeah,
then,
it doesn't-
right?
Right.
You can't
You
do it.
can't
I mean,
intentionally
but
do
other
it.
situations can happen like that, where two things come together, and now they make a thing, a new entity of their own, right? And something, in this case, both the milk and the meat were both permissible beforehand. But you could have something that's forbidden fall into the meat, and now the meat itself, that the whole thing now becomes an entire isser of its own. So the same thing, even though there's something divine within this, it became so embedded in it that even the good that's in there became like bad. Or not, and the other example I gave last week was, you sent a spy into enemy territory, and he's been there for 10 years, and now you contact him for his mission, and he says, mission? I have a wife and kids over here. I'm a citizen. I was thinking of running for president. He forgot. He became one of them. It happens sometimes. Okay, so that's all to explain, but you can read how I wrote it here, because I don't even remember how I wrote it here, but these things were in there. So the three clippers, go to the next page, 135. The three clippers in this lower category are referred to in Ezekiel's vision, that's of the chariot as a stormy wind, a great cloud, and a flashing fire. Out of these three lower clippers come, here comes the list.
Do you have this chapter 6? He doesn't have a chapter 6.
Oh, you don't have the chapter 6, it's there in the middle of the table. Okay. This is the very non-politically correct section over here. The souls of all the other nations of the world and the sustaining force of their bodies. Like I said, I think I said this last week, that excludes, page 136. That excludes the Chasidei Umas Ha'olam, the righteous among the nations. But in general, humanity has nothing inherently divine. It's very puzzling. I'm still puzzled by it, because it says in the Mishnah that Chaviv Adam Shenivra B'Tselem, which means when it says the B'Tselem Elokim Baros, and that God created man in the image of God, it's including all human beings. So they're created in the Tselem. So I looked at the commentaries there and say, yeah, but they destroy their own image of God. Okay, but the little child, when the little child's born, so Tselem Elokim. So it's not clear to me, but it is clear to me that the most dangerous thing on the planet is a human being. And one of the nastiest of all the animals. I mean,
Because they don't kill for pleasure. They only, well, maybe they do.
some of them,
Some
but they
animals do
don't
kill.
they don't kill people for having a conversation with them. So, and the example I gave, the thought experiment, if you take one representative from each country in the world and put them all together in a big hall and ask them to make resolutions, what resolutions will they make? We know. So, okay, but it's still very puzzling. Okay, the souls of all tameh animals that we are forbidden to eat, along with the sustaining force of their bodies. The sustaining force in life in these all forbidden edible vegetation, such as fruits of the first 3 years of a tree, and forbidden mixtures, because most vegetables and fruits are permissible. The only examples where they're not is the first 3 years of the tree, of the fruits of the tree, the fruits of the first 3 years of the tree, and when you mix seeds together in Eretz Israel, those also became kalaim. So too, from these klippas come the sustaining force and life energy of every act, word, and thought that touches upon any of the 365 Torah prohibitions or anything derived from them. That's all in Eitz Chaim, end of chapter 5. So, and when the Torah says, don't do this, don't do that, that act is of the 3 Tamei Klippas. And what about if the Torah doesn't say, but we derive from that therefore you also shouldn't do this? Well, that also. Like, for example, the Torah says, whatever the rabbis decide, right, in a case, when there's a case, a difficult case, you don't know what to do, to go this way or to go that way. Which way are we supposed to go? How are we supposed to judge in this case? And the rabbis all got, well, they can't do this anymore. But in the times of Sanhedrin, the Sanhedrin would take a vote. And they would say, well, you can't do this. And that's according to Torah. They decided, like, you can't eat chicken with milk. But the Torah only talks about mammals with milk. Yeah, but if you're going to eat chicken with milk, you're going to end up eating mammals, cows with milk. So that's forbidden. So that also becomes one of those forbidden. That also becomes, as soon as they do that, that means that thing now is of the 3 Tamei Klippas. It wasn't before, but now it becomes that. So now we want to go straight from there into chapter
Before we go,
7.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
page 135,
Page 135.
on top of the last.
Yes?
That's mind-blowing to me. The vision of the chariot,
Yeah.
the 3 clipboard.
Yeah.
I agree, but it says there's no good at all within them. How come? Because the chariot is God, is representative of God. How can there be no good in it?
It's a good question. Saying how we're going to look, we find that these 3 things are the storm, the wind, the great cloud, and the flashing fire. They're of this vision that Ezekiel saw, which was a divine vision.
Right.
So it's obviously all divine entities there.
Correct.
How can you say that that's evil? Clipper. So actually there in Eitz Chaim, it says that not that they're evil, but they're the origin of these things. As this descends into our world, they become evil. But every evil in its origin is not evil.
Okay, that's
How did
above
it
mine.
become
Don't get
evil?
that. Evil in its origin is not
Not
evil.
evil, no.
Yeah, it's confusing.
You need an example
That's
of,
beyond
you need
me.
an example of
Yes.
that?
Yeah, that would be
Yes.
good.
Okay, I was a music student at the University of British Columbia, when it happened to be at that time a really good school for music. And we had one instructor from music theory who was a crazy jazz musician, but also played beautiful classical music. Crazy guy. So the first thing in every class, he would come and play an interval on the piano. We had to write what that interval was. And then over the weeks, it got more difficult. He'd give these chords, and you had to hear, oh, that was a diminished 13th chord. It's getting more and more difficult as you're going along, and less of us were getting it. And then one day he comes in with a mischievous smile on his face. He goes to the piano, he looks at us, and he goes, crunch! What was that? Come on, Professor, now you're going to figure out what that coming to. I'll do it again. Crunch! You can't figure that. There's no way. He says, okay, tell me, who was the composer? Crunch. Schoenberg, whatever. What era is it from? Modern ugly, you know. It's got to be Berlin, 1930. Now I'm going to play you the piece. It's a beautiful Bach fugue. It's going along, and the tension builds up, and you get to this crunch, which melts into absolute beautiful harmony. There was nothing ugly in there at all. It was completely beautiful.
Context?
So when you back up and you get the big picture, it's gorgeous. As soon as you come in and you start looking at the details, this is really ugly. And a lot of things in the world that way. You're not seeing it in context. There's a Mizmor LaAsaf, what is it, chapter 79, I think, in Tehillim, where is it? 70 something, where Asaf says, I saw all the evil in the world and all the bad and the righteous suffering and the wicked are prospering, and I thought, if I tell tell people what I see of this world, I'll turn off the entire generation and everybody will abandon God. Ad avo el mikdash el, until I came to the mikdash, and then I saw everything from a higher place, and from there it's all gone. I saw the big picture from a higher place, and then I saw it's all gone. That's Mizmor LaAsaf, classic Judaism. So, but there are many other examples. You design a home, and everything of the home in your mind is good and beautiful. But when you get to taking maintenance of the plumbing and the sewage and paying the taxes and everything, well, that was included in the deal, yeah, but I didn't. That was just part of the bigger picture. When you have to get into the details, it gets ugly. Okay, so I want to go now, and go straight from that list to the list in chapter 7 on page 145. So then you have chapter 7, all these forces, souls, and soul clothing just listed are of the 3 completely tamei klippas that contain no good at all, right? Those soul clothing of all the things that you can't do, 365 Torah prohibitions, those are the soul clothing. But then there are those of a klippa that does have some good. Klippas noga, it's the shining klippa. Fourth one there in Eskel's vision, the shiny klippa. So,
Rabbi?
yeah, shiny klippa.
What about like Cyrus the Great? So like a non-Jew that was like.
So Cyrus the Great was the one who let the Jews build the Beis Hamikdash. He was considered to be from the righteous among the nations.
Oh, so he'd be like an exception to the Nogus Klipa, right?
He would be the righteous of the nations, or Klippas Noga.
I got you.
So, yeah, so these things. So which ones belong to Klippas Noga? The vitalizing animalistic soul of the Jew. The soul that is from the side of Klippa and invested within your blood, as mentioned earlier. Invested within your blood. He said over there that it interfaces with you through your blood. Never. It's not like you won't find it in some blood cell or something. And he doesn't say it here, but we said before that elsewhere he says the soul of the righteous among the nations. And then the souls of kosher animals, birds, fish, that are permissible for eating. So it says permissible for eating, not permissible, but permissible for eating. And the sustaining force and life energy of all inorganic substances, because all inorganic substances are kosher. I can't think of any inorganic substance that's not kosher, as well as all vegetation that are permissible for eating. So that's most of the world.
Unless it's Kalayim.
But kilaim, yeah, that are permissible for eating. Yeah, so but most vegetation is just kilaim and Ireland.
But
Nothing
So,
exceptions.
I mean, this is maybe a stupid question. What's,
No stupid question.
what's
stupid
an
question.
inorganic substance, something that's man-made? What is an inorganic substance?
But the word is
Chemically
domem.
made.
Domem would be,
But a stone is an organic substance.
the word often used is inanimate.
Inanimate objects, not inorganic.
Yeah, but inanimate doesn't make, inanimate means it doesn't have any life to it.
Right.
But according to the Arizal in Kabbalah, everything has life to it. So there is no inanimate. So what are you going to call it?
Biological life.
So domem literally means it's silent, it's dumb. Like you say, dumb matter. I put inorganic substances. We could have put dumb matter, water, air, chemicals, things like that. But
So they're
not
still organic.
the what? Fire.
They're organic.
Which are organic?
Water, fire,
They're not organic.
how are they not organic? Aren't they made
Water?
up of organic, like
Hydrogen
chemicals
and
and,
oxygen.
yeah.
No, that's not organic.
So
Organic?
It was organic.
What, doesn't
What's his
organic
name?
mean it
I'm trying to remember his name, who founded the biology, German guy who founded biology.
Mendelssohn? No.
No, and he came up with this term organic to describe living beings, that they are self-driven,
Okay.
but they don't like him anymore because
No,
he wasn't Darwinian enough or something.
something derived from living organisms or produced without synthetic chemicals, like pesticides or fertilizers. That's what organic means. I don't mean to nitpick, I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah.
So did ChatGTP agree with me?
My father was organic chemist, I have to
No,
confess.
Ask him, is water an organic chemical? I
He's
don't think
not,
so.
I wish he were here to ask, but
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
not.
Organic means it has like carbon, right?
No, organic means, what was your
I mean,
definition?
to me,
there?
it's I
Something
mean,
derived from
water
living
is,
organisms, but yeah,
water's
organic.
made out of hydrogen and oxygen, and like, those are organic.
No, those are not organic.
They're not produced by man, like they exist.
Related to
not
living
organic.
organisms. What's an organism?
Of, relating to, or yielding, or involving the use of food? No, that's organic. No,
In
not
chemistry, organic refers to compounds that contain carbon typically bonded to other elements like hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. Carbon is the fundamental building block for all living organisms.
Hold on, what's it saying? That all carbon is
So they have to
Chemistry-
contain carbon.
Well, that's a chemistry definition.
Yeah.
It's a chemistry definition.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Produced or involved in production of food or farming methods without the use of chemical fertilizer.
But that's organic, like we say, this is
Yeah,
organic
that's-
food.
that's
It's organic food,
It's a
yeah.
commercial term.
Best thing
It's
is
okay, I don't wanna take too much time on this,
Inorganic.
I'm just trying to
We
understand what
wanna
that
know
means,
inorganic.
inorganic.
Inorganic, definition, this is Merriam-Webster. Being or composed of matter other than plant or animal.
Okay,
2,
So it is
forming or
allowed.
belonging to the inanimate world.
okay.
So
Okay.
the mineral. is the
Not
animal
arising
or
from natural growth. Okay, inorganic.
Category question, 25.
So
Yeah.
carbon is still not organic, it's
Okay.
inorganic.
Okay,
Maybe important for organisms, but it's inorganic. Okay,
But it's gotta be kosher. It's gotta be permissible for eating.
yeah. Now, the last thing on the list, so too this clip of power is another kind of clothing of the animalistic soul. Now, the first kind of clothing of the animalistic soul was were all the things that you shouldn't do. Another kind of clothing of the animalistic, it is the sustaining force and energy of all permissible activities, spoken words, and articulate thoughts of matters of this world. Activities that are not associated with anything forbidden, not at the root level, nor anything that branches out from there. They don't violate any of the 365 prohibitive mitzvahs or anything that the Torah or the sages have extended from them. The only thing that makes them klippa is that they are not done for a higher purpose. They are simply bodily instincts, desires and cravings.
Like watching a movie.
They could even be existential necessities required to keep your physical body alive, but they are still kalippa. because your intent is not for a higher purpose, to serve God with your body. Right?
So it's like eating and not making a bracha.
Oh, yeah, just eating because, why are you eating? Well, it's lunchtime, so I'm eating. Well, that's a lost opportunity. You could have been eating because, because I need to live as a Jew, and what does a Jew do? It does mitzvahs, so to make more money so I can pay the tuition of the school, I'm going to watch a concert with kids, so that's why I'm eating, So I'm doing a mitzvahs, but if a person has I can't imagine, how could a Jew eat without having some higher purpose in mind? Live without any higher purpose, eat without any higher purpose is possible. Okay? But if it could happen somehow.
But Rabbi, why does all the souls of the animals have to do with eating them? Like, for example, like when I think of animals with Judaism, I think of like a lion. That's like our symbol. So can't that, like, the soul of a lion be like kosher? Like, we don't eat lions, but like I think of lions as like the protective animal or the symbol of Judaism.
I haven't seen this but I think there's a fundamental difference between using an animal as a symbol or even to ride upon,
Like the
or
donkey
to pull,
example.
or
Yeah,
eating.
if it does work for us.
But eating the animal is something completely different.
It's becoming part of your body.
Yeah.
So it's not bad, it's just not edible.
Well, I'm saying
Well,
that when you
you're
eat it, it means
Yeah.
you're taking its essential character. No, it's not. Riding it is something about it. It's the beauty of the line, majesty of the line is something about it. But its food is not something about it. It is it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's much more core level.
Yeah.
So it's at its core, it can't be elevated. Things about it can be elevated, but its very core cannot.
So it's like even the pig is not evil. Like there's use maybe of the pig, but like not to eat it.
But its core at that, I think because at that eating is getting to the pig at its very core.
Got it.
Its most deepest existential level. And at that point, no, that cannot be elevated.
Or even the lion, for that example. You wouldn't eat a lion, like you can't, right? But like the lion has some use, like we use it in our symbolism.
Like, for example, there are many evil people in the world. They're evil people. Do these evil people ever do something good?
Yeah.
Yes.
You bet. Some of the most evil, nasty people in the world have done some very good things.
And good people do bad things.
It can happen, yeah. So the core of this person, I'm talking about a human being who at their very core is bad. They can do a good thing.
Yeah.
So all the more so you have an animal that can be used for many good purposes, but at its core, which is what you get to from eating it, no, that you don't want. I can't say I have a grasp on it. It's very puzzling, but I didn't create this world, so don't blame me. So I wouldn't know where to start. I can't even create an electron. What do you want? So he says, so even just eating, this is already eating, you just didn't have an intent for a higher purpose. It's klippa. What type of klippa is noga? After all, staying alive is the function of the vitalizing animalistic soul itself, and it is klippa's noga. So if the animalistic soul is just going about its life without any interference from your divine soul, it remains that, and anything that it does remains klippa. So these activities, speech, and thought can't be any higher than that. It comes out that all the above forces, energies, souls, and soul clothes, without exception, come through the second level of klippas in Sitra Achra. That is the fourth klippa known as klippas noga, the glimmering klippa. It's glimmering. It could be elevated. Okay. So I put a note there altogether. These are three categories that receive their energy through klippas noga. Your human animal soul, the consumables for that soul, and her permissible soul clothing. Right? Those are the three things. The human animal soul, the consumables for that soul, and the soul clothing as she gets dressed up.
What is permissible soul clothing?
The things that we said on that last list of all the permissible activities, spoken words, and articulate thoughts of matters of this world. Anything that's permissible. Whereas in the last chapter, chapter 7, we said all the things that are not permissible, that's also clothing for the animal soul, but they're not good clothing.
So it's like that.
These are not also not good clothing, but the klippus noga, not lower klippus.
The thoughts, action, speech are the kind of
We said earlier, all the clothing of
permissible soul clothing.
the clothing of the divine soul was in chapter 4. Those are all the mitzvahs. All the mitzvahs are clothing for the divine soul, and that's all she has. She has a very particular wardrobe. The animalistic soul doesn't care anything. If there's anything I can do, speak or think, I'll wear it. That's the way it is. Okay? They're torn, they're bleached, whatever, I don't care, I'll wear it. Okay? That's the animalistic soul. So is it permissible, not permissible? They're both clothing for it. The only thing that's not clothing for it, well, I guess anything, because mitzvahs also anything that has to do with this world. So we said, so now we're going to find out what's the difference in the next class, the difference between, do we have a class next week? I think so. It's still before, when is Rosh Hashanah? It's not
Tuesday, Wednesday?
but not this next week.
Next week. Oh, you're right.
So we have a class next week, right?
Yeah, it's the week after.
It's the week after is Rosh Hashanah. Okay. So we have a next class. We find out what's the difference between the things that are klippus noga and the things that are the lower klippus. How does that work? And I have charts. We'll look at the charts. I even have animations. I don't know if I'll be able to show the animations, but I have animations to show. So we'll get to that. I wanted to mention, because it is Chai Elul in particular, it's important to mention now, that often when we're learning Tanya, it often happens we lose sight of the fundamentals, like what's really behind it. It's teaching of the Baal Shem Tov. And the core teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, it really is that a Jew is able to serve God through all the mitzvahs with joy and with love. And if you were there and you saw the Baal Shem Tov, oh, I can do that, and you would be swept away in that. And but if you weren't there, you said, oh, that's nice to hear. How do I do it? So the reason Tanya is written is to show you how to do it. The thing is that when you're getting into the how to do it, you often lose the big picture again. It's like those big things you get from IKEA. And you start getting into it and you're making a big, big mess because you forgot to look at the picture of how it's supposed to look when you're done, and you end up with this thing with the shelves upside down and the boards and then this thing sticking out because you lost the big picture. So the whole reason he's telling us now, or these chapters, 3 chapters about Klippa, is not we should be paranoid about Klippa all around us. It's in order to tell you that you are not Klippa. And these things, you really don't want to be involved in this world, except for one reason, to make it as divine as your own soul is. Right? He's telling you, that's the only reason he has to, like, you have to know where you are. You have to know 3 things: who you are, where you are, and why you are here. So he told you. Who you are a divine soul. Where are you? In a hostile, challenging world. Klippa. Why are you here? And we're going to find out. Why are you here? To lift it up. To lift it up and make it holy. So you have to know that if you're going to lift things up, don't try this stuff. Don't do this, because you won't be able to. Take this, and this is how you do it. And if you don't, and you also have to know that if you don't lift it up, it's not yours. It doesn't belong to you. It's like a ganeva. It's like stealing, because you're now attached to something that doesn't belong to you. So you have to know, I am here to elevate this. So if I sit down to eat my scrambled eggs and toast, it's in order to elevate it. It has to become divine. I have to say a bracha, and have to before and afterwards, and I have to eat it for a higher purpose, because that's why I'm here. And anything I do that's not for a higher purpose, that's not me. That's klippa. I don't belong there. I don't belong in something that people are doing just for the sake of doing it. That's not who I am. And then you do everything with a lot of simcha, with a lot of joy.
So
That's the point.
if something is from these lower klippas, then you can't transform them, right? It's prohibited acts are in there. So how was the person who cast a net on Shabbat? How was he able to transform that to a
Because
mitzvah?
he ended up being a mitzvah. He saved a life.
But it seems like that broke these natural, or
He was-
whatever, these laws, these rules.
No, because you're allowed to throw a net into the water to save a life.
Even if you don't know, that's why you're throwing it in.
Even if you didn't know that's why you're doing it.
You can do anything to save a life, right?
Yeah, but if you don't know, that's why you're throwing it in.
Thank you, everybody. We'll try next week to have a proper, but thank you for being there.